Hello, greetings, Sober Army. How are you? This is Craig Beck, aka the Stop Drinking Expert and the author of a book that has helped hundreds of thousands of people to quit drinking. I'm not shilling it. You can have it for free. Just go to the website, stopdrinkingexpert.com, and it's yours. So, what are we talking about this week in the Happy Sober podcast? Well, I've got a couple of emails to share with you. One challenging situation that could trip you up in the future. Let's talk about that. And also a little bit of advice from a member who has been sober for 18 months, who's just faced a big trapdoor in her sobriety. We'll be talking about that as well. First of all, a little bit of a plug, if you don't mind. I've just finished working on a new book. It is called Satoshi's Rebellion, and it is all about how you can't trust the government. I don't care which government. You can't trust the government. The government are not your friend. They are not working for you. They are working against you. You cannot trust the bankers. Their objective is to get rich at your expense. They get wealthier while you get poorer, and you cannot trust the mainstream media because they have an agenda. It's called Satoshi's Rebellion. I'll say no more about it, but I'm pretty pleased with it. And it's available now on Kindle and paperback. It will be available as an audiobook very soon. Please check it out. All right, let's jump in. Let's start with Denise, because Denise has an observation more than a question. Hey, Craig, I went through your program successfully and have been sober for a year and a half. Just wanted to share with you a recent experience that made me realize how cunning the evil clown can be, just when you're feeling pretty confident in your sobriety. And isn't that the point that I keep making? That there seems to be this window between 1 year and 18 months where you're weaker than you've ever been. It's not logical, doesn't make any sense. You'd think the longer you are sober, the stronger you are. But there does seem to be this period after 1 year to 18 months where I think it's that the pain of being an addict, the pain of being a drinker has started to fade. And now you're looking back with rose-tinted glasses on, and you can't remember just how miserable it made you. It's taken the edge off that pain. So you look back a bit more fondly. And because before you did my course, you failed to quit drinking dozens, maybe even hundreds of times, and then you did my course and you just stopped overnight, you come to the erroneous conclusion that you didn't have a problem in the first place. You say to yourself, or rather the clown says to you, you just stopped one day. People who are addicted to alcohol just don't stop one day. Ergo, you never had a problem in the first place. Therefore, you can have a sneaky drink. You will hear this argument. It will happen. Remember this episode when it does happen, because the clown is devious and the clown never stops trying, even though it gets weaker and weaker. So Denise says, I just went on holiday last week to visit friends. I was staying right on the beach. I'm a runner and was really enjoying having a run next to the seawall on the boardwalk. Well, instead of paying attention to the changing pavement, I fell and busted my knee and suffered from road rash on my hands and fingers trying to break the fall. It hurts when you fall over as a grown-up, doesn't it? Remember falling over as a kid? You just bounce back up. When you fall over as an adult, it's like, oh my God. Anyway, they were minor injuries, but it hurt like hell. I was laid up that evening and my knee was throbbing. For the first time in a long time, the evil clown awakened and said, hey, this is a legitimate physical injury with legitimate physical pain that the ibuprofen really isn't helping. A shot of liquor might be in order. It's an anesthetic, right? Yes, he's a sly one. And I almost fell for it. Then I remembered the horrid, vicious circle of drinking, hangover, recovery, drink, etc., and toughed it out, feeling a great sense of accomplishment when I woke the next day, no hangover, and the pain had already subsided. I just wanted to remind everyone that the evil clown can always come up with an excuse to drink. Thanks for all you do, Denise. Well, first of all, congratulations on your 18-month sobriety, Denise. That's fantastic. And double congratulations on dodging the clown's attempt. And you're right. he or she does never really stop. That might sound depressing, but when you first stop, the waves are fast and big, that, you know, they're coming rapidly. But the longer you go, the waves get smaller and further apart because the clown loses energy. It's weak and it's pathetic and it's starved of oxygen and food. And so it doesn't pester you every day. It reserves what little energy it's got for a weak moment. And I've told this story. The first time the clown nearly got me was when we had a death in the family. And it was unexpected. We had a sudden death, and I was away from home for the funeral. And it was in that period between the death and the funeral. It was about a week in the UK between the death and the funeral. And I was just kind of on my own, walking around in a mall. And it just popped into my head. This voice just said, you don't need to feel miserable. You shouldn't have to suffer like this, Craig. You don't deserve to suffer like this. There's a store there. Go in, buy a bottle of whiskey, and all this pain goes away. And the secret, as Denise found out here, is to not respond, is to watch it, is to analyze it a little bit, like you're watching a play being performed on a stage, and it's not happening to you. You're detached from it. You're in the audience, and you're watching what's going on. So instead of responding as the clown wants you to, you look at how the clown is trying to apply leverage to you. So you go, oh, okay. You waited until I was really depressed, until my mood was really low, when I was questioning the very meaning of life. And then you came in with some pressure. And for Denise here, the clown's not pestering her every day. He waited until something she loves was disrupted. She loves to run. She's injured now. She can't run. The clown seizes the opportunity and says, hey, you don't need to be in pain. You don't need to feel sad. You don't need to be down in the dumps. All of this goes away, including the pain, because, hey, I'm an anesthetic. Just drink the alcohol and everything gets better. And in that moment, if Denise had responded as the clown expected, she'd be drinking now. She'd be well and truly off the wagon, because that goes on for months. But because she didn't respond and she kind of watched it, she got a different outcome. So well done, Denise. Let's move on to a question from Claire. Dear Craig, firstly, thank you for your course. I'm really optimistic I can make it stick. You said in one of the videos to email you if you have any questions. And the most pressing question I have is, how do I deal with friends on nights out? I have no idea how to approach this, whether to make a big announcement or secretly slip away at midnight. Is that zeros? Oh, I see what you mean. Sip away at zeros, as in drink alcohol-free beer. I get you now. All right. I was faced with my first challenge last night at a friend's house when her husband offered me a drink. I was caught off guard, so I just said I was detoxing at the moment, but I felt really uncomfortable. The issue I'm faced with is that this friend is one of my main drinking buddies, and we're always the last ones dancing, and she will be one of the 9 going to Portugal at the end of September. She's also asking me and my other half to go out for a meal before then. So I really want to be armed with what best to say as soon as you get the chance. Claire. All right, good question. One we've had before, but it's definitely one worth going over again, because it's something that a lot of people don't think about. You know, alcohol becomes woven into the fabric of your life. And to a certain extent, if you get deep enough down the rabbit hole, your life becomes predominantly about alcohol. You won't go places where there is no alcohol available. I know from my own experience at the peak of my drinking, if I came home from work and something prevented me drinking, I was an asshole. I was just not a nice person to be around. I was in a bad mood. I was in a foul, awful mood. I was cantankerous. I was argumentative. I was grumpy. So if I came home from work and I had to go to a parents' evening at one of my kids' schools, I'd be furious, just furious. So, alcohol becomes life, and then when you remove alcohol, it would be foolish to assume that other areas of your life are not going to be affected. And I think this is something that people don't consider. If you stop drinking the poison, How are you going to fit into a world that you've integrated into where drinking poison is the natural behavior? So, okay, where do we start with this one? You said you were detoxing when you were offered a drink last, and that's because you weren't prepared. And I do say that, when you make this decision, you need to do a bit of forward planning. When you make that call, right, I've had enough, I'm stopping, you need to get your diary out and say, right, what's coming up? And if you've got obstacles in there, if you can, you should cancel them. If you can't, then you need to engineer them that you can survive without too much pressure. You want to make it easy for yourself. So let's say you've got a school reunion coming up in 2 weeks' time, and you can't cancel because you've promised all your friends you're going to be there. So what do? Well, first of all, you make sure you're driving there and you're the designated driver for your friends. You ring everyone and you say, hey, do you need a lift on Saturday? Great. Okay, I'll pick you up. Now you can't drink. Well, you can drink a little bit, but what's the point, eh? You're going to want to drink more than one, aren't you? So why would you be happy with one? So it's just little things like that. Have the answer ready for when people say to you, why aren't you drinking? And have some understanding of what it means to you. All right. And like I always say, change the substance if you want to make this seem logical, because we give it too much power because it's alcohol. We for some reason, this drug has a weird effect on us. If you say to someone, oh, I've given up drinking, first of all, you feel a little bit embarrassed, don't you? You feel a bit ashamed sometimes. You're like, because you're going to get pity. If you said to them, I've given up heroin, you would probably get praise and, oh, well, congratulations, well done. That's amazing. So good for you. You say to people, I've given up drinking, you don't get that. You get, oh, what a shame. So you can't have anything. It's weird, isn't it? So if you change the substance to something else, you can understand what's appropriate. So, for example, let's say you became a vegan and you gave up eating meat. If you then went to a party and someone offered you a sausage and you said, no, sorry, I've gone vegan. And they went, oh, how terrible for you. Oh, what a shame. You wouldn't think, oh yeah, how terrible for me. You'd think, no, I'm really happy with this decision. It fits with who I am. It fits with my beliefs. It fits with how I want to live my life. What do you mean it's a shame for me? And if they were like, oh, can't you just have one sausage? It would sound ridiculous, wouldn't it? You'd be like, why would I have one sausage if I'm a vegan? That's stupid. You wouldn't entertain it, right? But for some reason with alcohol, we put up with a lot of nonsense. We feel like we have to explain away our decision. And you don't really. You don't. You're an adult. You can do what you want. You don't have to explain anything, do you? So, okay, so you've got a challenge coming up, Claire, and you can't get out of it. You're going to Portugal at the end of September, and one of the people on the trip is your hardcore drinking buddy. Look, you ask the question, you don't know whether to make a big announcement or just secretly drink alcohol-free drinks. The latter is not a good idea, all right, because they will work it out. All right, they will notice at some point, and it will make them feel uncomfortable because it will highlight their own imbalance with this drug, and it will cause them psychological pain, and they won't like it. They probably won't be able to rationalize why they feel uncomfortable or why they don't like it, but they will go on a mission to get you drinking again, because it removes the psychological pain from them. It's got nothing to do with what's in the best interest for you. It's purely about them. So I wouldn't try and hide it, because at some point somebody's going to buy you a cocktail and be offended when you don't drink it. At some point, somebody's going to hear you ordering an alcohol-free beer and is going to have questions for you. Then they're going to compare your behavior to how much you haven't drank. So if you're not dancing till dawn, they're going to say, oh, it's because you've stopped drinking. You're not fun anymore. You've changed. And you're going to feel bad. And they're going to make you feel bad. So, look, I think If this friend is a really close friend, you need to have a quiet word with her. It doesn't need to be a big grand announcement like, hey, I've stopped drinking and now I'm better than everyone. You need to have a sit down coffee with her one day. So that meal that she wants to have before you go away is probably quite a good idea. Go somewhere, you're the driver. Have a quiet moment with her and say, look, I've made a decision. I've decided to quit drinking. Why? Why? Because I don't like the way it makes me feel anymore. I just feel terrible when I drink, during and after. The hangovers are awful, and it makes me feel really sick and nauseous and dizzy when I'm drinking these days. I don't know what's happened to me, but I just can't tolerate it anymore. And I've decided I'm quitting drinking. So when we go to Portugal, I won't be drinking, but I need your help with that. Can you help me? And get her to actively engage in the process. Tell her how she's going to help you. So instead of this being a battle, you're bringing her onto your team. So you're saying things to her like, if you see me getting tempted, I need you to talk me out of it. I really need your help. Please, will you help me? Now, if she's a true friend, she'll say, yes, I will help you. If she's quite a long way down that alcohol rabbit hole, then who knows? But if you get her involved in the process, it will save you some arguments and some arm wrestling when you get to Portugal. And as I have said many times before, the best answer to why aren't you drinking is not I'm on antibiotics. It's not I'm detoxing. It's not I'm on a health kick. It's none of those things. It is I don't like the way it makes me feel. I just don't like the way it makes me feel. And the reason that is such a perfect answer is because there's no comeback to it. If you say, I'm just detoxing, they can say, well, can't you just have one? Come on, one glass of champagne's not going to ruin your detox, is it? Have red wine, that's healthy. They'll come back with something. If you say, I don't like the way it makes me feel, everything they can come back with sounds ridiculous. I don't like the way it makes me feel. Can't you just have one? What, and just feel a bit bad? Why? Why would I drink something that makes me feel bad in limited quantities? Doesn't make any sense. So that's the best answer, Claire. All right. But let's also, what are we now? We're like nudging middle of September, aren't we? So here we're going to hold you accountable. Claire, we want to get an email from you when you come back confirming that you didn't drink and you stuck to the path. All right. If we don't hear from you, we're all going to come around and kick your ass. All right. Not literally, but we're holding you accountable here on the Happy Sober podcast. All right. Thanks a lot, guys. I'll see you next week for another video. Don't forget, new book out, Satoshi's Rebellion. Please go and check it out and give it some good reviews if you can. It's always difficult getting the first couple of reviews to get it going. Your help would be appreciated. And I will see you in the next episode. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.